This is House Planning Help, episode 223. Hello, I'm Ben Adam-Smith, and this is the podcast for you if you're interested in self-build, because I'm exploring what houses we should be building in the 21st century and trying to break down the major roadblocks that may get in our way. Coming up today, my guest is self-builder Dean Scott. We're back at Graven Hill to find out what his experience has been like. He has the shell of a house, it's watertight, good, but there's still a bit of work to do. He's just beginning the fit out, so we'll see how he's doing. It looks fantastic. I know it's going to be a great home, lots of great design, so we'll hear from him in a few moments. The UK Passive House Awards is back and the shortlist has been announced. So I thought today I'd put that link into the show notes, because if there's one thing I enjoy, it's checking out houses. And so there's some great photos. You can get all the stats as well. Which do you think is going to win in the small project category? Because that's where all the self-builds are. We've chatted to Ruth Butler on the podcast before. Actually, maybe I'll put the link to that in the show notes as well. Hampshire Passive House has been shortlisted. Hope View Passive House. Old Holloway, I've tried many times to get George onto the podcast, but he will not do it. If you know him, give him a nudge. Hopefully he'll come on one day. Passive House Muse 2. So those are the 4 projects. I'm also going to share a link to an article that Lloyd Alter from Tree Hugger has written, because Lloyd, he always has a great thread of humour that comes through his articles, and I think you'll like this. He's comparing the UK Passive House Awards to the Oscars and telling us a few of the Oscars that just did not deserve to win and what the real winners were, and he's also had his pick of what he thinks should win. Well, the Enterprise Centre is actually up for the large-scale projects, and I've visited that myself. I think there are few projects, probably, I'm putting my reputation on the line here, around the world that have as much thought that's gone into them, so I'm backing that one too. He backs that one. I really think that should win. Let's get to my chat with Dean Scott. And as I say, it's more of a chat than an interview today, because we're just having a wander around and he gets to show me his house and a quick tour of Graven Hill. But it starts with me in the car, just trying to locate him. Well, SatNav thinks we're here. And there are roadworks. And it does look like it's another Ministry of Defence site, Site E. 20 mile an hour signs, definitely something going on in there. Yeah, this looks like the right place. Can see some solar panels through the trees. Oh, I can see the main street. I think I'm going to have to read my instructions again. As you come in the main entrance, you need to take the first left onto Roberts Drive, and there's a car park on the right. There he is. He's waving. He's got his hard hat on. Greetings.
I'll jump in and we'll go to the car park.
All right. Let me clear my mess. Okay, so I wasn't too far off.
Well, the problem is that on Friday, the first left was just up here, but over the weekend, they built it in. so it's quite hard to give directions when the roads are literally changing on a day-by-day basis.
While you're in the car, is it worth us going on a quick tour?
Yeah, we can go for a drive around. Yeah, no problem.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, actually, if you carry on straight down here, I'm not entirely sure the road names, to be honest with you, but there's 2 areas of the development which are sort of active at the moment, over our section, and then this loop down here, which is where most of the work is sort of, these are the first phase of plots, and it's a big mixture of turnkey, self-builders and all sorts of things. So there's a Danwood house on the corner here, for example. That wasn't there like 6 weeks ago.
That's amazing, isn't it? That really is turnkey.
And then, so, I mean...
Do you know any of these people?
Yeah, we know most of these people. We get together reasonably regularly.
I tell you something that's already surprised me, and that's that there are quite a few conventional looking houses here.
Yeah, so these ones here, this row of houses here, for example, and the row just to the right you can see, they are kind of the Graven Hill shell build houses.
So they're fit out ones.
Yeah. Well, there might be a mix. There might be some which are completely finished inside and are affordable housing, and then some which are shell builds. And these are all built by people like Silver and BT Passive, I think. So there's a mixture.
So they each take
a certain number of plots, and then they're responsible just to get the shells there.
Yeah,
that's a good idea, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So is it? You can go left here if you want to drive.
Yeah, let's try that.
Closer. So yeah, I think these are silver affordable homes here, and then I think the next row are BT passive shell.
To passive house standard.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah, you can see all the membranes and tapes and everything that's sort of synonymous with
that's good to see, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we might be blocked here by a delivery van, so we'll go left.
Okay. Here all the Harris fencing.
Yeah, and these are all typical self-builds, but it's a mixture of kind of turnkey and people are sort of doing it themselves. So that one's pretty much finished. That's a Danwood house.
So it feels very spacious as well. Is that just because there are lots more to come?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or will it
everywhere where you can see gaps between the houses, there will be houses there. Basically, these are all plots.
And do you think that all of these are sold, or are they just going in drips and drabs?
I believe most of them are sold in this particular area. But obviously, people are just at different stages of their projects. And I guess from Graven Hill's point of view, they're kind of phasing in when they actually do the work.
One other thing that's quite nice is the trees, and having that established. Quite often I think in a developer estate they cut everything back that they possibly could and start all over again.
Yeah, it's on the right here. This is, well, Graven Hill is sort of just to the right behind us, and then this is all the woodland which is going to stay as it is.
That way, brilliant.
Yeah, so I mean this will all be housing along here.
Yeah,
but on the,
course,
but on the right that will stay.
But it will still make a big difference.
Yeah, so it'd be nice. Yeah, I mean we've never really thought about that aspect of it, but we're quite close to woodland. We'll be able to go for nice walks and
one step at a time.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just we're so used to it being a building site. To be honest, I've never actually spent any time thinking about it, what it's going to look like when it's just a normal housing estate.
If it's anything like me, you also don't feel it's real. In some ways it seems like it's just a project that you're looking at someone else's, even though you're making all the decisions. So I take it I'm going the right way.
So this used to be a turning here.
Oh goodness, so that's not going to be a turning anymore, or will it become a turning again?
No, this will be filled in. So
that's it, you've lost that.
Yeah, and it's good that we've got our frame built, because all our Arctic lorries for the timber and everything came through there. So you want to take a right into this car park.
This is car park A?
Yes, yeah. If you
that would have been a lot easier to find.
But all of our deliveries have come through that left turn. Now I think, had we been building now, to get an Arctic round this loop that you've just had to come round, I think might be impossible actually.
You're joking.
I mean, it's...
Hopefully not. Hopefully they thought of that. Although, are you saying that this is largely done, this area?
Well, we're in a dead end at the moment, but it will be opened up and there will be a road across, so we will have a loop. But at the moment, it's a dead end, so any deliveries basically have to come down and then back out again. And that access around that corner was crucial, really. I think it'd be really difficult to get that access in otherwise. But anyway, it's not something we have to worry about now, because we've done the
you've done all the legwork. Right, let's go and check out the house. I'm going to go and grab my hard hat. Your contracts finish in the summer, don't they?
Yes, so I've had since the end of, or start of June, and I've got until the end of this month before I go back to work. So I've just dedicated this time to working on the house project. And so we've had contractors in building, well, everything up until where we are now, really. So we've got the frame, cladding, windows, doors, roof installed. So it's almost a weather-tight shell. There's a bit of work to do around the front door. We've got to put some sort of surround feature. And we've got to do some surround details around the windows. But essentially it is now an insulated, airtight shell. And so there's no sort of services connected at the moment. It's in a state where we know now that it's not going to get destroyed if we have some really bad weather.
This has gone up very quickly though, because you've only been on site 2 months?
Yeah, groundworks were finished and the passive slab was finished early May, mid-May, and then the CLT frame guys came in towards the end of May. So yeah, this has all happened since then. and the contractors doing the cladding finished last week. And you can see the site is there's quite a lot of junk around now.
You should see our site. It's a lot worse. It just happens, I think, doesn't it, when you build a house?
So we've got all the excess cladding here. So we ordered more than we needed, but we always knew that we'd use any excess to build a nice shed or whatever. So that's fine. And we've got all the offcuts and stuff there. And this is our fire treatment dunking tank that we've used to fire treat the cladding. We just need to have a bit of a sort out, really.
And it's just going to weather naturally?
Yes, we've done nothing else to it. So it's a lovely colour as it is now. And we know that this will silver over time. I'd like it to stay like this, really. But and I know we could treat it and try and preserve it. But it's just the money. I mean, we're struggling to find the money for kitchen and bathroom, so there's no way we could really justify treating the cladding, but I'm sure it'll look fine.
Staring at this face, I think for the first time I've realised you've got quite a big constraint. It's as if you're building in between two houses, which you are,
absolutely,
obviously, but everyone's got scaffolding. So are there any constraints with that, or it just means tight space around the side?
It is tight space. So we have a metre to our plot boundary, so everyone does. So we've got 2 metres between the two houses, but the width of a scaffold is about a metre. And the problem is sequencing. So our neighbours on the left here, plot 38, they had their scaffolding up well before we were ready, which meant a couple of things. Firstly, we couldn't dig service trenches down the side of the house because we'd be undermining them. So we've had to put that on hold. And then when we came to put our scaffolding up, you can't then put a separate piece of scaffolding up. You really have to tie it into what they've done. And so our lift heights are really based on what they've done. And then similar, again, for our neighbours who came after us, is that they then had to join onto ours. And so in a way, it would make sense if we all had one scaffold company do the whole thing. In reality, we've got probably 3 or 4 different scaffold companies here, and they have joined onto each other, and which has all sort of gone okay. But I do wonder when they start taking it all down whether there's going to be any kind of tricky bits, if you like. Because if our neighbours want to take theirs down and we're not ready.
Yeah, let's hope they're not supporting you.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder whether there's going to be some reinforcement required to then support ours. But anyway, that's a question for another time.
Just before we go inside then, one more question. So how is that detail around the door being finished off? I can't remember the plans exactly.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it was a design detail that sort of been kicked down the road a little bit, and it still has. So it's still to be decided, but essentially what we wanted to do was, because we've got this square theme, the whole house is almost a cube shape and the windows are all square, but obviously the door isn't square, and so we wanted to create this square feature around the door to maintain that. So I think what we'll end up having is a slightly recessed surround
of the same timber, or different cladding?
Try and match the door colour if we can. So maybe have some sort of aluminium panels that match the door colour, so it looks like the door is one big square. That's the theory anyway, but like I say, to be finalised, really.
Should we go in?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Lead the way.
We've just got the handle fitted to the front door, so we can actually use it now.
Go. Wow, this is lovely.
Is that it's reasonably cool in here.
Yeah.
So
which way south?
So we've got south-facing rear-ish, and we're sort of slightly at an angle. I think we're about 40 degrees away from being perfectly south-facing.
Are you shaded?
We're not shaded. The whole south face, all the windows will have roller blinds on the outside.
But you do have access to the south, is what I'm guessing at, because obviously there are lots of buildings around here. So.
Sorry, yeah. So you can see actually.
All right, go on. Let's start heading through. Oh, this is going to be lovely.
So we've got. Sorry about the noise. We are on a building
right.
site.
No, of course.
So we've got these silver houses. So this is another development for affordable housing right behind us. So you can see our garden is sort of pointing in the middle of it, so we're not directly overlooked or overshaded. So,
But it feels like we're in the shade at the moment. Is that because we're not exactly south? It'll suddenly come into the sun.
yeah. So what's the time now? It's about 10:30, isn't it? So the sun is making its way round. So by the middle of the afternoon, it is usually sort of right in front of us here.
And then moving on to that question that you did start to answer about the shading.
Yeah. So we don't have the blinds fitted at the moment, but you can probably see we've got sort of a recess above the window here where the blind will fit in.
Electric.
Yeah, electric blinds.
Perfect.
So we've got wiring in ready for it.
It's the one thing, our overheating risk is 0, which should mean we don't need anything, but I don't know. I like the idea of having that manual override that you've obviously thought about ahead of time.
Well, we've got, I think it's a 5% risk, which I think is right on the limit of what you're sort of supposed to get away with. So let's go back in. I'll close this door to drown out the noise of that.
Not too bad, is it? And have you
nice
got anything
with
else to be built directly beyond the garden, or is?
So we spoke about earlier, this is a dead end. It sort of goes around the corner and then stops. But the road sort of in front of those trees, that will be opened up eventually. And there will be another row of self-built houses along the end there. So we won't quite sort of have.
But what's beyond that fence then, if it's not more houses?
So this is a car park for these houses.
Oh, fantastic.
When we go upstairs, we'll be able to
have a better
see
look.
what there is there. So there won't be any sort of building right directly behind us, which is nice.
CLT looks fantastic. I take it you're going to keep this interior to some degree.
That was always the plan. So it's Construct CLT, Jim Johnson, who's erected this for us. And it's just, it's a work of art, really. And without a doubt, sort of the best part of the whole project has been seeing this go together. The way the windows work with it and being able to see the edges of the CLT around the window frames, that is the look that we were ultimately after. The problem that we've got at the moment is that we know we've got to do some fire treatment for spread of flame protection. So we've got to choose a product now that obviously tries to keep the aesthetic that we've got here. Because we would love to leave this colour as it is, exactly as it is. So it's a question of how much is it affected by what we have to paint it with. But one of the things that Jim did when he put it up was to cover all the panels in some breather membrane to protect it from the sun, because once it's exposed to sun it goes a little bit yellow. There's no real sort of examples to show you that because he's done such a good job of covering it over. But this light sort of woody colour that we've got is because he's protected it during the build, and we want to try and preserve that as much as we can.
So take me through the design process then. How did you end up with this, and what had to happen in technical design to deliver this building?
So we went to Graven Hill Architects with our plot. So we had registered the plot at this point, and we knew what the space that we had to build with. And they came up with the concept of a cube. We've essentially got an 8 metre wide plot of land to build on. You can go deeper than that, but we wanted sort of a 3-storey building to try and get the floor space in that we wanted. And so it sort of ended up being about 8 metres by 8 metres by 8 metres. And so that was...
With what's floor space?
It's, I think it's about 135 GIA. Which was sort of about as much as we felt we could reasonably afford. It's always difficult at that stage to know, isn't it? But we sort of thought, well, we'll set ourselves a reasonable limit. And so that was the concept. And they had some layout details they presented to us, which sort of didn't quite work with what we wanted. So we then went away and sort of had to think about, okay, how do we want the internal spaces to work? How do we think we're going to live within the spaces? And we went back and they updated designs with what we wanted. And then that went off to the timber frame engineering company that then turned that into something that worked structurally, which, they didn't really have to do too much. You can see we've got some steel beams in here just to support these open spaces, which again will keep those exposed as much as we can.
And this is telling too that design is important to you because you've gone double height space, haven't you?
Yeah, that
in this
was
little section
on our original shopping list. double height spaces or something that creates a little bit of extra drama was definitely on it. So we've got a couple of areas. We've got this space which is sort of over the dining area, so we'll have a dining table
here.
Kitchen units over there, that's sort of a little sitting area. And then that's our cupboard, which will be boxed in, so that'll have the MVHR in it and storage and everything else. But yeah, it's just, we've got the light coming in, so we've got windows above the space as well, and we've got windows up in, that's the study there, which will look over into this space, and there's windows up there, so...
A study with no door to shut out noise from children, that's very brave.
Well, again, another design detail to be decided really, but...
They'll go to school eventually.
Initially, that was going to be another CLT sort of balustrade across there, and we were going to have shutters across, so you could shut it off. But I think now what we're thinking is that we'll have a glass balustrade to keep that light coming through, and then maybe we'll have shutters on the outside of that, so again you can close it off when you want to, but then have it nice and open otherwise. So that office actually, although it's called an office, I think it's almost more like a living space as well, because it's so connected.
Just somewhere else to go, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll have a nice armchair in there or something, and you're still part of the rest of the house.
So I can see a ladder behind us. I'm assuming we're not actually going to need that to get up to the next level.
No. So another thing that I was quite keen on is we got stairs included with the CLT package.
Good plan.
So that the space is usable and workable.
Actually, a couple more spaces down here.
Yeah, so that at the end there, that's a larder. So we'll have some shelving on that wall, and then it's sort of a mini utility room as well. So we have washing machine and fridge, freezer, and then dividing wall across there. And this will be the downstairs loo in here. And then this is the other double height space we've got. So again, looking up into the study, and eventually that will have a glass panel to close it off. And this is the TV room. So imagine built-in sofa across here, projector screen across there.
Very nice.
And then this is the sort of playrooms, TV room, whatever.
And your window here, if this were in an existing town, you probably would have to have some sort of frosted glass or that you couldn't see through. So that's quite interesting. I know you're probably not looking onto another window.
Yeah, I think there are some planning requirements we have to go through, but because everyone's developing at different rates, it sort of depends on what your neighbours are doing. And I remember we submitted all our design information before our neighbours had submitted theirs, and so there were no planning restrictions because of their house, for example. So we do actually have a window. I think it's below the ground floor you're okay, or below the first floor you're okay. Anything above the first floor, you do then get into, you might need to have frosted windows. We haven't, but I think that was partly because we'd put in our planning before that house existed. So, yeah.
Okay, so let's head up these stairs that were included in the package.
Just watch your step at the top there.
Will do. And I'm quite surprised to see you've already got your desk and computer up here. Have you been working here quite a lot?
Yeah, so this is my site office, essentially. So as soon as we got the windows in, I didn't see any reason why I couldn't just move my desk in here and start working here. Because I was working at home. We live 15, 20 minutes away, so every time I had to come on site, you're losing an hour a day just sort of going back and forth. And then as soon as you get home, there'd be a call and say, oh, can you come and have a look at this? And so it's like, right, okay, I'm just going to move my whole office over. And so, yeah, so that's what I've got. So I've just been working here during the day, and it's great. It's much better than the office I've got at home, that's for sure.
I just think you're able to concentrate as well, so long as there's not work, which I'm sure there will be all the time going on. So this is the first real corridor, actually, of the whole house.
Yes, so we've got this stairwell, and it was the one area that we were sort of a bit concerned that maybe would end up being a bit dark. But we've got skylights above there, which fills that area with light. And okay, maybe a little bit dark here, but it's
I think to use the space well, you're doing pretty well.
And this is Hugo's room. So this is the window that we've got on the side facing them, our neighbours. That is. So maybe this one should have been frosted. I don't know, but
as you said, if you're ahead of the game, then
exactly.
it looks like the only section he'll have to be standing right in that corner to look back onto. Is it a corner window? No, it's just.
Yeah, I think that's their stairwell there, so it's nothing. It's not a problem. But you can see we've put this sort of quite low down deliberately, so that it's a window for a small child, essentially. So the flooring will eventually sort of come up and sit flush with the bottom of the
and
window.
That's quite good with these windows that open out. So that one's a fixed window, and this up here, he's not going to go flying out of that window for quite some time, so he can have a window open in his room.
Exactly.
But not this one here, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
What are your windows, and were they part of this package or sourced separately?
Sourced separately. These are ideal combi triple glazed windows. It's their Futura Plus range, and I'm really pleased with them, to be honest. They're a pretty good price, and they've fulfilled everything that we need from them. We were talking about it over the weekend, actually, whether it's going to be awkward. They open inwards, which I understand sort of means they've got slightly better.
We've got exactly the same issue in a way sometimes, because if you've got something in the room, this room, I don't think you'll worry too much, but it can easily bang into them. I love inward opening windows, but I haven't lived with them.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen the windows down, so I'm not sure how big your windows are, but
big.
Yeah,
same as you, I imagine.
So trying to open that, but you can't really open it all the way. But I don't know if you got the tilt and turn.
Tilt and turn. Well, that's the thing, that if the worst comes to the worst,
so
I mean, for goodness sake,
like
you can use
it
all the time, and that probably for a kid's bedroom is what you're going to be doing. But
absolutely.
What you never know is how the airflow is going to feel until you've got there. I know I was reading an article the other day about the summer comfort, that a lot of people think immediately open the windows in the summer, but actually you've got those shades on your south side. You may well find you're just shaded and everything, if you want to open the windows, open them, but for a lot of the time you won't need to.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Okay, and heading up to the final, I'm imagining this is the lookout deck. Right at the top with panorama across Graven Hill.
So, family bathroom. And then this will be the spare room for the time being.
See, that's going to be really smart, isn't it, for the spare room. Now, how big are your windows?
These are 1.4.
See, that's bigger than ours. Ours, I think, are 1.3, possibly. Only just. That's bigger than ours. How are you finding that opening and closing this one? Does it get clunky or?
No, I have to say the sort of the mechanism and everything has all been brilliant.
Yeah.
And
so it's just furniture. If it's going to bump into furniture or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think these will be used as tilt windows most of the time, and we'll only use them as turn windows if it got hot in here for whatever reason. I just can't see.
Top of the house is the one thing that physics will tell us that all the hot air, this is going to be your hottest areas up here, even if it's just fractionally hotter. That's the window that's probably going to be open a lot, that skylight.
They'll be opening, so we'll be able to just have those open a little bit, and hopefully that'll just allow for the heat to purge out if we need it to.
And here's your window.
The master suite, so we've got sort of dressing area and ensuite along the end, and then this is our bedroom.
Just a few more questions and then we'll wrap up. And one of them has got to be, okay, you've got your house and this is a shell, more or less, isn't it? So how do you see things going forwards from here?
Well, I just sort of came in this morning, actually, and I'm sat at my desk, basically thinking what exactly the question you just asked me. And there's a list of things that I can write out, which we can do now and we need to do now. What we're really working towards is being able to move in as soon as we can. And so we're just trying to tick off the things that we know we need to do for building control. So, off the top of my head, we've got ground floor needs a flooring level putting in. We need flooring on the upper floors, fire doors, we need fire treatment on the internal walls. There's a few bits to finish on the outside, some window reveals and things. And then the service runs, so we've got to get the electrics in and MVHR in, and we've got to get a gas boiler in. So those are the things at the moment, that big chunks that all need to be done.
Would you move in before it was completely finished, or might you have to?
I think we definitely would. I'm not sure how we're going to define finished on this project, if I'm being completely honest. I think we're certainly going to move in before, if you like, we've decorated everything, before we've got all the rooms finished. I think we'll try and focus on getting the main family bathroom done, and we'll leave the ensuite, for example. And we'll just do what we need to do to move in, and then we'll treat it as a longer term project from there. Because we've got the pressure, like I guess most people have. We're renting at the moment, and the sooner we move out of that, that's £1,000 a month that we can spend on this rather than on that. But then we've also got the dilemma of the VAT reclaim, and we don't want to move in and then we're buying loads of stuff we can't reclaim the VAT on afterwards. So we're trying to balance that a little bit.
There's no doubt as well that once you've moved in, the pressure is off from progressing the project forward, so perhaps you sit back a bit. I imagine you, possibly like me, might be feeling a bit of fatigue now.
Without a doubt, I am absolutely exhausted from working on this project. And I just want to spend time with Hannah and Hugo as well. There's a lot of time spent on this where I've not been able to spend with them. That's probably the hardest bit, to be honest. I think I'm definitely prepared to relax what I feel is a finished state, just to be able to live here and just to get on with life again. Because, that was always one of the benefits of going with CLT. As you can see, we've got finished walls, effectively. There's no plastering to do here. In theory, there's no painting. We could paint, but we don't have to. So we could potentially be quite close to moving in. And I just want to be able to relax.
Finance then, one thing I remember about you gave a presentation at the National Self-Build and Renovation Centre and looked very organised, very considered, which is way better than I did. So how is finance going for you?
Well, we're still here and we're still above water, which is the positive. We're over budget. Although I was talking to Hannah about this, and I think that really I'd describe it as being the predictions are well under budget or too low. The reality is now hitting of what this is actually costing, and there's nowhere to run anymore. You look at the bank statements, and I would say that we're probably around 8 to 10% over budget at the moment, or like I say, we under budgeted by 8 to 10%. So we've not spent more on luxury things, if like that's just the cost of delivering what we have here. And so what it really means is that it put a bit of a squeeze on where we go from here, and so we'll have to do a bit more work ourselves for sure, and we'll just have to try and squeeze those quotes in for the remainder of the work. And I say we'll leave wherever we can and do it in fullness of time, because as you know, there's two things, isn't there? There's the budget and then there's cash flow, and I think cash flow is probably the slightly trickier problem for us at the moment. We have enough to get through, I think, what we need to do.
But the good thing as well is that you have paused things, really, haven't you?
Yes.
By doing this, you've got a house, it's here, it's just that next hurdle to you need to keep spending money until it is a house that you can live in. And the other thing that I need to point out here is that you weren't a homeowner before this, so that's a big change.
Absolutely, yeah. So I don't know whether it makes it easier or harder, to be honest. We didn't have the problem of having to sell somewhere, but then we didn't.
Is it harder? I'm sure it makes it.
But we didn't have the big chunk of money either, so we've had to sort of care. We probably had 3 revaluations as we've gone along so far to then release the funds. So, and that's all been brilliant. We've been using Ecology Building Society, who have been fantastic. There's been times where I've been caught out by an invoice that's come in, and I've emailed Ecology saying, we need another release. And I've checked my bank account later in that day, and it's been there. And that's just been, really, really good. So yeah, we've got value still to release, which is good. So that money is there, and that's the good thing. Though we have built the value, we've not sort of got ahead of ourselves. So the building is worth what we've spent on it, if you like, which is good news. So I think ultimately what it means on the budget is that gone are the dreams of any sort of luxuries, essentially. So it's just, bare bones, basics to get in, and then we'll develop it sort of over the next 2-3 years, or whatever it takes. But as long as we get in and it's comfortable, which I'm sure it will be, then we can just get on and live as a family, and we can take it on from there.
What about the exciting side, building a house? Are you just in a slightly drained place at the moment, or is this still, a really good thing to be involved with and a path to have gone down?
I'm glad it's you that's asking the question, because you know how it feels. Everyone you talk to, there's a couple of questions. First, it must be amazing, it must be exciting, and then they say, when are you moving in? And yes, it is exciting, but there's so much to think about that you don't really. In my experience, you don't really get to sit there and go, yay, this is so exciting. Depends on how you approach it. Or something
else takes a hit. I'm afraid that's the way. That's what I found on my own project, is that actually my business has really suffered because I've tried to enjoy the project and spend time filming it, but luckily, in a way, there's a little bit of an overlap. So although it's hit me in the short term, I always think long term, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I think we talked a little bit about fatigue, that I certainly feel with a project that's gone effectively so well. Yes, we've had plenty of challenges along the way, but it's gone well. So what happens when these things go wrong? It must be an absolute wrecker, really.
I can certainly see, nothing really has gone wrong for us, to be fair. Like I say, there's been plenty of challenges, and because I'm managing it and I've been sort of involved in design details as well, I felt the sort of stress of all of that, which is why I'm sort of hesitant to say I've enjoyed it, because it's felt like really hard work. But I do get a joy in coming here, for sure. I love being in this space. Although, like we were saying earlier, it almost still doesn't quite feel like it's our house. It's like I'm working on this for someone else. And because you've got scaffolding up, there's still plenty of details which are a bit raw. It doesn't quite feel like a home yet. Just getting there. And we had contractors in finishing off the cladding, and they've all gone now. So I've been able to sort of tidy up inside, so it feels a bit more like a home now. But I do love the house. I haven't fallen out of love with the house.
No, that's the most important thing. I think you're well on track, and what's going to be important for you is just keeping the progress. You need to be able to see that things have not stopped, and even if that's just in planning, which I bet you've got it all in hand. So I just wanted to say a massive thank you for taking me around today.
You're welcome, and hopefully when it's finished, whatever that state is, you can come back and be able to sit down on a sofa or something like that, some sort of luxury.
Absolutely, I would love it.
Okay, thanks, Ben.
Get more in the show notes at houseplanninghelp.com/223 today, where we can show you a few photos of what the house is looking like. I've even put together a video just to bring it all to life. You can hear from Dean himself. He's doing so well. I'm really proud of him. In fact, this is one of the great things about running the hub. I have thoroughly enjoyed being a little bit more involved in people's projects and seeing them come to life. And okay, he's not quite there yet, but it's a great project. I know it is. You can tell straight away, and he will get there. He's got the determination. The family will love living there. It's just a real success story. Keep going, Dean. So if you've got a comment or you'd like to ask a question, you can either pop that in the show notes at the bottom, or I'll give you the link to Dean on Twitter. He's got his own website as well. And there's the Graven Hill website. If you heard that, I thought, maybe I'll go and get a piece of land there. houseplanninghelp.com/223. Just a couple of things to finish up on today. First of all, that free Facebook group that we've really just opened in the last week or so, and we would love you to be part of that. TalkSelfBuild.com will take you straight there. It is a closed group, so we don't let anyone in, but we'd love you in there if you want to talk about building an eco home. Maybe you've even got some challenges and you can get together with like-minded people. TalkSelfBuild.com. If you want to go a step further and become one of our hub members, I said at the beginning of this podcast that Dean was our very first hub member, so I'm getting all sentimental here. Lovely to see him build his house. What's new in the hub at the moment? Well, we've got our penultimate video from the Buckinghamshire Passive House story. That's all about the solar PV array there. We've also got a progress call that we had with Ryan Watt from the We Build Academy. And we've got all of our regular courses, the forum as well, where you can keep your progress log and just stay accountable to the group. So if you want more information about that, houseplanninghelp.com/join. That's your lot. Thank you so much for listening. The House Planning Help podcast is produced by Regen Media, content that matters.